All right, so here we are. I am in a brand new test account, so we don't have anything set up yet for the website. And I've gotten to this page just by going over to our main menu and clicking website. And that's going to bring us to this very first step here. So if you don't have a website already set up in your My Music Staff account, you're going to see these two options. The first one being, I want to build a website, and that is how we're going to get in and see our brand new drag and drop visual website builder that has been recently launched. The other option is if you do already have a website built elsewhere, whether it's with Wix or Squarespace or WordPress, this is where you can go to customize your sign-up form, your widgets, and get the code for that to put on your existing website. Now, for the purposes of this overview video, we really want to highlight our website builder. So we're going to click in here. And now choosing the template that we want to use to start customizing the site. So we've got a few right now that just give you some choices for the overall look and feel of your website. Now you can go change this at any time. You'll see a little bit later on, once we get some more content in our website, we can start playing around with the style, the colors, the fonts, and switch between any of these templates at any time. A closer look, we can click this preview button, and that just gives us this pop-up window right here, where we can see some examples of how this could look. You can see the photo gallery, we can see some headings. Now, all of this is very customizable. We'll drop out of this one. Let's take a look at this preview right here. You know what? Let's go ahead and choose this one right now. So we're going to click this blue button. We can see this one is selected, and we will go to the next page. Step number 3 is connecting your domain. Now, again, we've got two options here. If you would like to use a free domain from My Music Staff, you absolutely can. That will be the website name that you choose, .mymusicstaff.com, and that is entirely free. It is included in your membership price. There's no additional cost there. The other option is if you do already own your own domain name that you've purchased through another website, you could enter that here and connect it. So going to that domain will direct to your My Music Staff Build website. So for right now, let's choose a website URL that we want to use. Let's do McKinnon Music example.mymusicstaff.com. Perfect. It's telling me right away this URL is available, so we know we can go ahead and move on to the next step. I've got the option to start putting some of our custom branding on here, so we get to choose the title for our website, and optionally, if we wanted to add a header logo right now, we can go ahead and do that. This is an optional step. We don't ever have to put the logo on, and we can also go in and update that later on. So for right now, let's put in the name of my music studio. It's going to be McKinnon Music Adventures. Looks great. Let's start editing. All right, so here we are in the blank slate of our brand new website builder. You can see this is the template that we chose from before. We don't have text. We've got some placeholder text instead. We've got placeholder images, so we know kind of the shell of what it's going to look like, and now it's up to us to start putting that content in. But right off the bat, before we get started, I'm going to just walk you through the different sections of the website builder down the side here. We've got our blocks, we've got our pages, and we've got the style. So going a little bit further into the blocks, these are the content blocks. We built this library of drag and drop content blocks for all sorts of things that are going to make up the foundation of your studio website. So right off the bat, we've got a hero section. This is a full width section that you're going to see displayed along the top of your page. That's what we've got right here, which is this one right here. You can see we've got a few different options for the look and feel. We will be able to input a big title, some other text below it, like a tagline for our studio, and then drop in an image. Next up, we've got the text and media settings. So a few different options here. We can see some examples right here below the hero. We've got some options for a title with text, some options with images as well. You can see this blue accent color. I'll show you in a moment how we are going to go in and change that if we want to. And all of these can just be simply dragged and dropped into the visual editor right over here. We can move them up and down. We can delete them if we're not ready to use it just yet. content blocks, we've got the gallery images. So this allows us to put multiple images in. We've got this sort of grid view right here that we've got on my homepage here. We've got the gallery that you can flip through. We've got a few options here that show 3 columns with an image, a title, and some text. This is great for like a meet the team page, perhaps, if you want to highlight your teachers. Maybe you offer a few different types of classes or types of instruments that you wanted to highlight. That would be a great way to do that. Next up, we've got our testimonials. So this is where you can just drag and drop this content block in, and we've got a placeholder for a quote, whether it's from a family, whether it's from a teacher or a student. You can drop an image in there as well. Got our widgets. So there are 3 different types of widgets that we can put on our website. First up, we've got a contact us form. So just to collect some questions or information from anyone interested in learning a little bit more about your studio and what you have to offer. Next up, we've got the login widgets here. So a few different style options for them, but this is what you would put on the web page where you want parents and students to go to access their student portal that's connected to your My Music Staff account. And the sign up form widget. So this is the new student sign up form. Right now, you'll see if we just drop it in, it shows us some default fields of the first, last name, and email of the student. And then step 2 would be contact info. A little bit later on, I'll come back to this and show you how we can edit this to customize it. If you're familiar with the old version of the My Music Staff website builder or using the widgets that you have placed on an external site, it'll feel very familiar. There's a lot of the same options. There are a few extra options that we didn't have before, and we've just tried to make a seamless process, integrating it better within the website builder itself. A content block we have is our blog block. So this is where, if you are using the news and blog post features over here in the main menu of My Music Staff, where you can share studio information or news with teachers or students or families, you do have an option to publish those posts to your website blog. They would show up here, just like this message right here. If we go to news and blog posts in the main menu to write posts for your website blog, you can have them displayed on your website. And delete that. Option for the content blocks is an HTML block. So if you are a little bit more advanced, a little bit more technological, and you have something like a snippet of code that you wanted to put in, or some CSS or HTML that you wanted to put in, you could go ahead and drop that block in, and it just adds that extra layer of a little bit more advancement. The next step we've got is our pages. So I'm going to scroll up to the top so we can just have a look at the header. So you can see right now along the top in our navigation menu, we've got the home page, the about page, a contact page, and a login page. And right here under the pages section is where you can see all 4 of these pages exactly in that order. Now there's a few things we can do right here. We can add a new page. So let's say we want to add a page to talk about the different types of classes that we offer here at McKinnon Music Adventures. We can also click here to show some additional SEO settings. And if we go ahead and save that, we'll see how it just pops here in the list. It's been immediately added to the navigation menu bar along the top. And what we can do in this little grid over here is we can drag and drop to rearrange it. And there we go. In live time, it's just updated there. Another thing we can do by dragging and dropping is creating a submenu. So right now we've got home, about, classes, contact, and the login page all as main menu items. But let's say we want login page to be nestled nicely underneath the classes, so anyone in existing classes can go and log in to access their portal. What we're going to do is we're going to drag it up to classes, and we're going to wait until we see this dotted line surrounding that page. And now when we drop it in there, we can see a little bit indented. When we hover here in the menu, it's now a sub menu that appears below it. It's super easy to go and drag and drop, rearrange your pages at any time. And once you come up here and hit the save button in the top right corner, it's going to automatically update live on your website. Now, another thing we can do over here, we can see we've got this lovely little home icon indicating that the home page here is what we have set as our home page. If we wanted to adjust that, and if we wanted to make a different page besides this default home page set as the main page, we could go ahead and click these 3 dots, and we see a number of different options here. So if we wanted to edit the page details, it'll pop up that window similar to when we were adding a new page. If we wanted to set this as the main home page, let's go ahead and do that. You can see that icon immediately switched. Now this is the home page. Let's go ahead and undo that there. We can also create a subpage, so similar to the drag and drop. We can duplicate this page and just create an exact copy of it. We can delete it entirely from our website. But one thing I wanted to highlight here is instead of deleting something entirely, maybe sometimes you've got a page of your website that you want to keep as an active page. Maybe you've got a form on it. Maybe you've got older information that you want to have access to, but you don't want it published in the navigation menu here along the top. What we can do is remove it from the menu. So by clicking this button, we can see it's immediately dropped from the navigation menu bar up here. It's also dropped from this menu order section over here, and it now appears down in this not in menu section. So this page is still active. If we have the URL, we can share it with someone. They can still view it. They can still access it. It's not a completely private page, but it is hidden from the navigation. Let's go ahead and add that back. Again, very similarly, we just want to click those three dots and click Add to Menu. And let's drag it back up here next to the home page. Now, the final section in the sidebar here that I wanted to go over is the style. This is where we can change the look and feel of everything on the website. So let's go back to the home page where we can see a little bit more of what we're working with here. Colors and fonts. So right off the bat, this blue accent color we have in here by default, we can see how this displays in a few different ways in our template. The buttons are this color, the background color of some content blocks. We can see it behind the testimonial here. So to change it all in one go, we're just going to click this accent color button. We've got a number of different options here. We can select from a few different preset options along the top. We can use the hex color finder here to just drag and look around and see if we can find something that'll fit. We can do that up here as well. Maybe we're looking for an orange color. Let's go find that. But if we have a specific color in mind, we can also put in the hex code exactly. So if you have a very specific brand color that you've used in your logo or in your other branding that you have throughout your studio, you can simply select that and put that on here. Now let's just reset it to the default. It's lovely My Music Staff blue. There's a few different options here with the colors. Again, later on, once we put some more content in here, we can come back to this and see how, once we have additional details and content on the page, how it's going to adjust when we make these changes to the colors. The other thing we can make some adjustments on is the fonts that are used throughout. So let's take a look at this 3-column content block here and see how the headings and body text are going to immediately update once we make a change. So with the headings, we've got a number of different options in here. Let's select Oswald, and we can see how immediately that has changed there. It's also changed in the sign up form. Next, let's go with Poppins right there. So not much of a difference, but we can see that it did change immediately when we selected that new font. Next up, we've got the template. So now we're kind of right back to the beginning with those 3 different template options that we selected from. This one with the blue box around it is the one we're currently using. But if I scroll up to the top, we can see, maybe it's a little bit too much white space, a little bit too blank. Let's add a little more color to it and switch to using this template. Great. So we've updated the fonts to the new template. We've updated the header, so it's using the accent color a bit differently. And again, we'll come back to this when we have a bit more content in here and see how, once we've got the text in place, once we've got the photos in, how that's going to look when we're making adjustments to the template. And final option in here is the title and logo. So once again, the title that we selected before in one of our very first steps, McKinnon Music Adventures, that's what's going to be displayed along the top here. And this is where we can go back in and add that optional logo if we wanted to display a logo instead. Now, the next section I want to highlight here in the sidebar, beyond these blocks, pages, and style areas, are the settings and files. So I'm going to not save what we've done here. We'll jump into the settings. We've got a few different options here. That domain that we set up, this is where we can go in and see if we need to adjust it. If we do have our own domain name, we can go ahead and connect it there. And otherwise, we'll go back to keeping the free domain that we've used here. Next up would be the social link. So super easy to just edit this section here, copy and paste the links to each of your social media account pages for your studio, paste those in, save it, and once you have something in any of these fields, you'll see the icon displayed in the visual editor and on your live site. It's a super easy way to just create a simple hyperlink to open up your social media accounts. Down at the bottom, just some additional SEO options if you wanted to add a tracking code. What we have up here in this other tab is files. So this is where once we're starting to build out the content of our website and we've got images we want to upload, maybe a PDF that we want to link to, maybe some other files, we can upload everything here either ahead of time or as we go. And this is where we'll be to manage the content we have on our website. You'll see when we go back into the visual editor in a moment how when we're selecting images to add, we'll be able to then pull from this media library we've created to select the images that we want to have on our website. Jump out of that and back into the website builder. And what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to take a quick pause of this video, get some additional content blocks in the website, and then we will resume and you can see how it's looking. So we are back in. I've just taken about 5 to 10 minutes to go through and update some of the content here in the content blocks on the home page. Have a quick scroll down here. Set up a teacher's page just to show off that 3-column layout. Added the login widget, created a contact form, pasted in some of those links to our social media just to open up the social media accounts for the studio. But let's head back to the home page, and now let's revisit some of those things in the sidebar menu here, now that we've got a little bit more in here to see how it's going to adjust. But right off the bat, you can see we've got some photos in, we've got some text in, some headings, we made some adjustments to the style and the colors that we've got. Let's see what happens when we change the entire template overall. So we're going to just pop back into the style section here again. And right now we have got this third one selected with the bright colorful header at the top. If we switch the whole template, let's just scroll down a little bit so we can see some of the different options at once. Let's switch to using this one. So the text has updated. We can see the header has updated. So we'll switch back and forth between the two here. And then switch to the second one here. So we can see the clear differences and how easily it's updating in live time. Let's go back and stick with using this top one here. Now, if we go into the colors and fonts, this is where we can be a little bit more specific about the certain areas that we want to make a change to. So right now we're looking at the right now we're looking at the header. Let's see what happens if we change this header right here. We're in sort of the blues. Let's see if we can find something that matches a little bit better to this blue that we've added into our image here. Go a little bit darker. There we go. Like that color there. Scrolling down a bit, this lighter blue that we've got all throughout as our accent color behind the images here, behind the sign up form. Let's change that with a little bit of a more subdued, a muted color, sort of a bluish gray here. Darken that up a bit. All right, so again, in live time, we've seen how that just goes ahead and changes right in front of our eyes. Now next up, let's just check out a few more of these content blocks just to see a few different options that we have here. I'm going to go in and I'm going to add a gallery into the page. Let's throw that. Let's do this one right here, and we'll throw this in here between these sections and our testimonial. Now, we've already got these images that I've thrown in while I was editing the website. At the visual editor, you can see we've just got the placeholders here. There's a few different options for how we're going to add these images. So if we click on any of these image placeholders, we got this little cloud upload icon. We've got a few different options here. Very first tab is where we're going to upload a brand new file that we don't already have existing in the files of our website. So we would click here to choose a file. It's going to open your file browser on your device, and you'll be able to select an image from there. Next up is the gallery. So these are some of the images that I have uploaded already to the files section of my website builder down here, that second tab over here. So I can choose from any of these photos, select it, choose the button here to drop them into the website builder. But what I'm going to focus on now is this third tab, which is stock images. So these are completely free to use images. If I just have a scroll down through here, let's select this one, drop it in, and immediately we've got that image right there. So let's do that a couple more times. Choose a few different options. Just drop those directly in there. And we can see in live time how it's going to appear on the website. Here we go, and we've got this nice, simple, scrollable media gallery with a few different images here. If we wanted to add some more pictures, we can do that by using this plus button, or we can use the subtract button to get rid of those ones and go back to the 3 we had at the start. Now, next up, I wanted to go back to the sign up widget, which we touched on a little bit earlier. I mentioned there were some different options for editing. So we can see how this looks by default when we've just dropped it in. This is exactly how it's going to look on the website as it is right now. These are the questions that we'll see. This is how it's going to display. And this is where new students will go to fill out their information. If we click this pencil icon up here in this block, we're going to get this pop-up to show us a few more different form options. So we've got a few steps here with some different things we can select. So one thing that to point out specifically, this is new in this current version of the website builder, is the student type that you want to display on the form. In prior versions, it was always just the option of child or adult. So if you were a studio that only catered to one of those demographics, you couldn't select which one you wanted to show. By default, it's going to show both options, but if you only teach children or if you only teach adults, you can now select that as an option to be the very first question right off the bat on your student form. But we'll stick with showing both options. Next up is the default status you want them to have when they are added to My Music staff. So there's a few options here. We've got the ability to set them as active, trial, waiting, or leads. Now, if you're not super familiar with the different student statuses that we have up here in the students menu, active and trial students can be scheduled on the calendar. They can be assigned to teachers. They are a fully functional student within your My Music staff account. Trials are functionally the same as active students. It's just a way of easily segmenting that list if you offer like a free trial lesson before they've fully committed to being a student. The next option is waiting. So if you want to use this specific form to work like a waiting list to collect the information from students that are interested, but maybe you just don't have a time for them yet, you can do that. Or a lead if you just want to get their info so you can follow up later on. And then you'll also see with the active and trial options, you get this additional option to automatically send the student portal login information to them once they submit the form. So right away, they can get their account set up, log into the portal, and maybe start browsing the calendar. The next option that we can see here is about collecting payment details on the form. Now, since this is the brand new test account I have set up, it's not currently connected with Stripe or PayPal Pro, the two payment processors that we integrate with. If you were connected to Stripe or PayPal Pro, you would be able to choose from one of these options. So you can choose to optionally charge a sign-up fee on this sign-up form itself. By default, the first option is not to charge a fee. The next option would be to select a registration fee. Now, if you do that, it's going to add a charge to the family account. And then when you run an invoice that encompasses the dates of that charge, it will be included on there. You can put in the amount and a description, for example, the sign-up fee, registration fee, however you want to call it. And then the third option would be a deposit. Again, if this account was connected with Stripe or PayPal Pro right now, we'd be able to see a little bit more detail there. The difference here is the deposit is automatically going to charge that card as soon as they hit submit. The registration fee adds it to the account to collect later on. Deposit charges right away. Let's go back to that first option of not charging a fee and see what the next step holds. All right, so by default, your sign-up form is going to contain the fields to collect the student and parent information. That is their first name, last name, phone number, and email address so you can contact them. However, we've got a number of optional preset additional fields that you can include. So if you just click in this field, we'll see some options like the address, their birthday, if you want to collect online username information for online lessons like their FaceTime ID or their Skype username, you can do so here. If there's a preferred teacher, if you're at a multi-teacher studio and you want them to be able to select which teacher should be assigned to, which instrument they're interested in taking, and all sorts of other things here. Beyond that, if you wanted to collect some other information besides one of these preset optional fields that we've selected for you, you can add your own custom field. So let's see what happens when we click that. So this other pop-up window open, we've got a few different options we can choose from. So you can select checkboxes for this form field, a drop-down list, an email, a policy agreement. This is great because you can have new students sign off on your studio policies before they even get scheduled on the calendar. Whether you have a document to include, you can include a web URL to link them to a policy or upload an attachment so they can click on it when they're filling out the form. Video buttons, so if you want people to be able to choose only one from several options. A multi-line text field if you ask more of a longer form question about their experience or past instrument history, for example, or a single line text. So for this example now, let's do a drop-down list. The field name, what do we want this to display as on the form? Let's say we want to collect some referral information. So we will say, how did you hear about us? We'll actually go ahead and put in the options that we want to see on that drop-down list. So we'll do Google, maybe Facebook, maybe you're running some Facebook ads and want to see how well they're doing and attracting leads to the studio. Word of mouth, maybe from an existing student, flyers, maybe school, and other. Then we've got the option to choose whether we want to collect this form field information once for the entire form or once per student. So if you have a family with multiple students signing up at the same time, do you want this specific question to be asked every time you're inputting a new student's information or on the last step when you're collecting the family information as a whole? And then finally, do we want this to be a required field? Let's say yes, we want to make sure they're absolutely selecting a response here so we're getting that information. And we'll go ahead and save this. So now we can see the additional fields are the address field and the birthday field that we've added. We've also created this custom field. We can add as many custom fields as we need. We can drag and drop them here to change the order. We can edit it or delete that question entirely, and we can see that it is required. They have to fill it out. We'll go to the next step here, the final step. Again, very similar in the old version if you are familiar with the older web builder that we offered. We can choose to send a confirmation email once they submit the form. You can customize that in your business settings. Just click up here by your name. And then the message that's going to display when we submit the form. So thank you for signing up. We will contact you as soon as possible. I am fine with that. Let's leave it as is and save. Give our website, and we can see once this is saved, how this visual editor directly translates to how the actual website looks. So down in this bottom left corner, below where we have the settings and files, we've got this link to actually open our website. So quick refresher, we'll scroll down here in the visual editor, see how this looks. Excellent. Now let's actually open up our website. Voila. It looks pretty much identical to what we've got in the visual editor. We can see the menu items at the top. We can see the social links that are clickable and will open in a new tab. We've got the accent colors we selected, the images we dropped. We scroll down and all of the layout has retained. Nothing is changing and looking different in the browser tab than it did in the editor. We've got this photo gallery that we added our images to earlier, the testimonial. We've got our sign up form. So now when looking at the sign up form, we can see some of those extra fields that we added and customized. We did select that we wanted to show both adult and child as the student type. One key difference here, if you are filling out this form as a child student or for your child, the email field is optional. Once you get to step 2 for contact info, you as the parent would be prompted to fill in the email address as a required field. However, if you're filling it out as a prospective adult student, that email field is going to be required right off the bat. You can see that birthday field that we chose to add. So let's fill out test student. We're going to leave this blank. Let's select a birthday. Let's go with May 9th. We can add another student here if we've got a multi-sibling family that all want to take lessons. We'll go to the next step. We would fill out the parent information here. Here's that address field that we optionally added. And then how did you hear about us? This is our custom field. And if we select to look at the drop-down options, Google, Facebook, word of mouth, flyer, school, other, exactly as we inputted ourselves. Here as the editor, you can see hopefully how easy it is for you to build a professional studio website. It doesn't take much time at all. We've got a few tips out there available on our blog of how you can think of what content to put together if you're brand new and don't have a website to start with at all. If you're coming from having an existing website, then you've probably got the page layout figured out. You got some of that content. You can easily put it in a Word document, copy and paste it directly into our visual editor here. And as always, if you have any questions or just need any additional support, please reach out to our fantastic support team. support@mymusicstaff.com is the email, or visit our website at mymusicstaff.com/contact to get the local phone number.